Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mark Bruce with the Performance Recap, and this is episode 12. Today, I'm going to talk about the three things or the three training mistakes that I did growing up. Now, just a little bit of a background, I started lifting weights, meaning like lifting heavy things in like when I was 8 years old. That doesn't mean, like back squats, bench pressing, but when I was growing up, my father was a little bit of a pioneer in his way of thinking with athletics. So, and he was a former football player, track and field athlete, so he knew the value of lifting weights. But again, didn't really, force us to put bars on our backs and stuff like that. However, we would throw medicine balls, we would throw like heavy baseballs or heavy baseball bats. So I was very familiar with lifting heavy things and exerting effort when training. And it is one of the reasons why I did excel as an athlete. However, reflecting back on my development, I definitely think I could have been a better athlete. And a lot of that's on me and how I trained, as well as how, I didn't advocate for myself in terms of, what my body needed, or maybe something else was out there. So I'm going to talk about the three training mistakes that I made growing up. And this is, ranging from ninth grade all the way up to my college playing days, and even when I was trying to play pro after college. So, number one, I never had a true strength and conditioning coach that specialized in these non basketball or skill oriented movements. I had a great varsity coach, I had good coaches growing up. So that kind of allowed me to, understand what I needed from a skill perspective. Although when it came to the weight room, the only person that I ever had was my dad. And then intermittently, we did some work with other strength and conditioning coaches during high school. But I never had, a private sector coach. I never had a strength and conditioning coach in the high school. I never had anyone that specialized in performance training who could say, hey, these are the exercises that will fit your body, favorably. And then these are the regressions, or this is where your body's at. So these are the movements that are going to help you perform better, reduce knee pain, improve ankle mobility. And then these are the things to really target, and then progressing from there. So I never had anyone like that. I would just go into the weight room and work out, right? Benching, we did the Ben Wallace workout, which was just high volume, high reps. Let's just get sore. Let's look good in a tank top. And there's some validity to that. There's some benefits for a younger athlete, but moving on, I never had anyone that broke things down how I break it down for my athletes from a periodized standpoint, from a, hey, let's trap bar deadlift versus straight bar deadlift. Maybe you don't need to do a back squat, maybe you can do a front squat, maybe there's split squat, where I never didn't have anyone that laid out this phase, this plan, this training regimen for me. And I think that could have really not only shaped, what happened from a career standpoint early on, but also an athletic standpoint. So that's the first one. I never had a strength coach. Number two, the second one was I never had a program. I never had this periodized program. And let me go backwards. Like in college, I had a strength coach, and that's really when my performance started to adapt. I remember testing my vertical, I think my sophomore year of high school or college, and I was like low 20s. And it wasn't because I wasn't a good athlete. I was just very strong, very muscular based, and my upper body was solid versus having that good athletic, functional ability with the lower body. But I remember my senior year in college after having a strength coach and then being on a program where I was able to dunk. My hips were moving well. I was really loading my lower body at various sets and rep schemes. So, that goes into the second point. I didn't have a program. I didn't have this linear or undulating program where it was like, hey, we're going to do high volume this month, then we're going to go low volume this month, then we're going to do some, PAP training, French contrast training, this high-low model. Instead of doing 8 reps, we're going to do 4 reps. Instead of doing 15 reps, 12, 10, 8, 6, we're going to go, 10 sets of 3. We're going to go 8 sets of 5. I never had that. Right? I just went in the weight room and, oh, today's upper body. Let's bench, let's do some pull-ups, let's do some bicep curls, triceps, push-ups, shoulder raises, and some face pulls. And then lower body, see ya, right? Didn't do lower body, in high school, nor can I remember, other than like leg press, leg extensions, leg curls. Did a lot of loaded carries, when I was at home. But I didn't have this program. I didn't have this start to finish plan or even a 12-week phase, to help me improve my athleticism, reduce pain, get athletic strong versus just bodybuilder strong. So I didn't have that, and I think that could have shifted my performance. Also, because I had a knee injury my senior year during baseball season, and having a sound program, going into that summer, then freshman and sophomore year, I think that really could have shifted. And/or having a sound program ninth, 10th, and 11th grade maybe could have prevented my knee injury, could have, allowed me to perform at a higher level. And then, the third one, bodybuilding, right? I trained like a bodybuilder. I did high reps, high volume all the time, 24/7, 365, same thing, rinse, repeat every time I worked out. College, high school, even after college, right? After college, it was always competing. Bodybuilder, play basketball. And when I tell athletes, the further you are in training than the sport requires, you're gonna be, not as athletic as you could be. You could have some knee pain, right? If you're back squatting, leg presses, leg extension, leg curls, lunges for higher volume, that's gonna deter you from being a better athlete. Okay, so I always did bodybuilding like training, and there's a time and place for that. But I don't think, what I do think is when you're at a certain strength level, certain ability, bodybuilding training should only be a small portion of your progression, of your program. So that's where I think that level of training should not be all year long. So just to backtrack, number one, coach in strength and conditioning would have helped. Number two, periodized program. Number three, bodybuilding training. That's where I went wrong. So I hope you learn from those mistakes. Try that. Try avoiding what I did and seeing if it can help you be a better athlete. Thanks for tuning in. Again, episode 12 of the Performance Recap. Share, comment, like with an athlete or a parent or a coach. Thanks for tuning in.